Here's a songwriting technique I find really interesting, using loudness as part of the structure of a song. One of the most common ways I've seen this done is as a troll move, where a band will start off a song quiet and have it become loud or just escalate the loudness throughout the song, just to sort of fuck with the listener and try to blow up their speakers. Misfits did this on their album Famous Monsters, where there's two different versions of the song Helena. One that comes at the end of the album, which is like totally quiet for like a good minute and a half, hoping that you'll turn it up way loud, so then it comes in with the second half of the song at like fucking max ear rape volume. You know, a YouTube poop strategy, but before YouTube was a thing. I think the album came out in like 95 or 98 or something. In any case, Mindless Self-Indulgence did something similar not too long afterwards on the album Tight, with the song Diabolical, which just at the very end, when he's singing, I got that diabolical sound coming through your speakers, and it just keeps getting louder and louder until this explosion. It's not like too extreme. That one probably won't blow your speakers, but it is just a funny kind of way to end the song. And then there's like some really quiet studio chatter afterwards, which is I think a really good payoff to that. But there's other ways to do it too. I think there are some bands who actually use the quiet segment to get you to adjust your volume, not as like a troll thing, but because they want you to listen to the album louder. I really think that this is what the Mars Volta was going for at the very beginning of the album Francis the Mute. Because at the start of the song Cygnus Vismum Cygnus, there is this incredibly quiet intro section before it blasts in max volume with this crazy ass funk bass and shredding guitar and like chanting vocals and stuff that does not have impact if you listen to it quiet. Like, I've listened to this album thousands of times, and hearing it hearing that intro bit really quiet, it has no impact and it goes right under the radar. So I think they made that opening bit incredibly quiet so that you'd turn up trying to hear it and then get blasted with this fucking assault, which sounds awesome at high volume, you know? And this might seem cruel to a first-time listener, you know, to fuck with them that way, but I definitely think that once you've gotten used to the album and, like, you hear that song come on and you kind of instinctively think, oh yeah, I gotta turn up my sound because I know that I need it to be loud for the full impact of this, this intro. So, I'm kind of glad it's there in a way, though it can fuck with you if you're just I mean, I almost say, you know, if you're just trying to listen to it quiet, but you shouldn't be, because the song sounds like shit if you listen to it quiet, in no small part because also the mixing of the song is not the best, so you gotta kind of play it a little loud. No Mars Volta album is beautifully mixed. They're all weird fucking mixes. But in any case, yeah, there's lots of songs that do it that way. I could probably think of other examples, but that one really stands out to me. But then I think my favorite way of using loudness as a part of song structure is when it's done organically through the instruments being played, not just through audio manipulation, but through adding in more instruments at dramatic moments. A perfect example of this is the first song on the album These Four Walls by We Were Promised Jetpacks, which is It's Thunder and It's Lightning, which is one of the more famous songs for its insanely emotional climax that happens for the whole second half, where you've got the song that's just got one guitar playing this very full-sounding riff, like it really occupies the whole channel, and it's quite loud in and of itself, but it's just one guitar, very dissonant, playing a sort of driving but weirdly slow, weirdly timed riff. And it's pretty much just guitars, very light tapping on the drums, and the singer, you know, sort of crooning in a low voice. And meanwhile, the second guitarist is playing a xylophone in the background, which is very small and you know, just kind of hangs there. You might not even notice it the first time. And then when it gets to the big crescendo of the song, and the singer screams, who's screaming, your body was black and blue, your body was black and blue, your body was black, and you hear the drums kicking in, and then just all of a sudden, it's two guitars going da 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 da, and it's really fucking loud and emotional. And it's, you know, it's not It's not inorganic at all. Like, they didn't change the volume of the track. They just had a second guitar join in. But it feels, and had the drums go, like, way more apeshit than they were before, like, hitting the crash over and over again. And it sounds enormous. It's one of the most emotional moments in a song I can name. Just by having everybody, I just think it's so clever that, like, this is a band that ordinarily has two guitarists playing at most times, but for the sake of this gimmick, they have the other guy go play a xylophone for a while until he joins in with the big crashing part. And they do a similar thing in the song Quiet Little Voices, which is an all-around very loud song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time, but, like, it goes from a loud verse to an insanely loud chorus when the second guitar kicks in for the chorus singing, and it's quite intense. It's a fucking great song. I highly recommend listening to it. Maybe I'll make a playlist of these songs, though I don't know, because I can't remember like every song that's used as an example, but I could at least make a playlist of all the ones I mentioned here. Another great track that sort of inspired me to talk about this is the song Chasing a Bee by Mercury Rev, which kind of combines multiples of these elements, because this song opens with a very long, slow, quiet intro build that you will probably turn up your sound system to hear, because when the song cuts in, it sounds silent if you're listening quiet, because most of the track is very quiet. So you do have to, like, even if you get all the way through the intro section, you're still going to want to turn up your speakers just to hear the actual song, even when it starts. But if you turn it up loud enough to hear that intro, you've got it at the right volume. You've got it at the right volume, because if you're loud enough to hear the intro bit, which is very pretty in its own right, then the song will sound normal volume. In spite of being mixed very quiet, it'll sound normal volume to you once it kicks in. But then you've got this song going, and it's a pretty loud, like, it's kind of a noisy, abrasive song. It's just mixed really quiet. So if you've got it, you know, at a normal sounding volume, it's already pretty overpowering. Then you get to the middle of the song, where the singer sings, like, "It's not time for the real life sign, it's nighttime for these fears of mine." And then you just hear this insane wall of guitar blasting way louder than the rest of the track. Like, unbelievably amount of louder. Like, it sounds like it's just like, it doesn't even sound like it's part of the song because it's so much louder, but it's the coolest sound in the fucking world, because the first noise it makes sounds like a guitar, like, being plugged in, and just the amp rippling with power as it surges to life. It's just this sound that just crushes over the whole track. And then the guitar starts playing, like, these huge fucking, like, deep solo riffs and shit, and it's just, like, bellowing over this already noisy, cacophonous song, and it really takes you to another fucking planet. Like, that song goes apeshit when that guitar kicks in, and it is another one of my favorite songs of all time for that reason. So I definitely think that you can use this loudness changing to very interesting effects. You know, these are just some of the ways that I've seen it done. I'm sure there's a lot more subtle ways that it's used. I think, you know, it's fairly common in songs to have a difference in loudness of different parts of the song, especially if there is sort of an emotional climb. You know, a lot of the songs on my 6 Minutes to Perfection playlist are ones that start off more subtle and eventually get loud, but these are ones where it's like the actual, like, studio editing of the song, you know, is a massive change in volume. Like, there's all of these are like, there's a huge difference between the quiet and loud parts, and it really creates the structure of the song. And yeah, it's just an interesting way that you can use stuff other than just the instruments and just, like, you know, what you're playing to structure a song. You can use, like, every different technical element of what music is to affect the way that something's gonna sound and be perceived. Cool shit. Give these songs a listen. I'll put a playlist in the description. And see you in the next one.